Dr. Amara Chen stared at the blinking red alert on her terminal. Confusion etched across her face. In 3 decades of archaeological research aboard the Galactic Archives Station, she had never triggered a Level 9 security protocol. Those were reserved for weapons of mass destruction, prohibited technologies, and documents that could destabilize entire star systems. All she had been doing was transcribing her field notes from Earth. "Dr. Chen, you need to come with us." 2 Valorian guards materialized at her office door, their crystalline armor refracting the station's blue lighting into prismatic shards. Behind them stood Executor Thelmar, the station's security chief, his 4 eyes narrowed in what Amara had learned to recognize as extreme concern. "There must be some mistake," Amara said, rising slowly from her chair. "I was just uploading research about human military history. Nothing classified." "That's precisely the problem," Thelmar replied, his translator struggling with the tension in his voice. "Come. The council convenes in 1 hour." The walk through the station's spiraling corridors felt eternal. Other researchers, Krell, Santhi, even the usually friendly Mercosians, stepped back as she passed, their various appendages and sensory organs tracking her movement with unmistakable fear. Word traveled fast in a space station home to 47 species. The council chamber was a vast spherical room where representatives from the major galactic civilizations floated in zero-gravity sections calibrated to their needs. As Amara was guided to the testimony platform, she saw her notes projected in holographic form above the assembly, each page magnified to building-size proportions. Chancellor Vorn of the United Systems spoke first, his voice carrying the weight of someone who had witnessed 3 interstellar wars. "Dr. Chen, do you understand what you have brought into this station?" "My doctoral thesis on pre-space human warfare?" Amara ventured, genuinely confused. A ripple of alarm passed through the chamber. The Krell representative, a being whose species had evolved from hive-mind insects, chittered rapidly. "She speaks of it so casually. Perhaps she doesn't comprehend," suggested Ambassador Liss of the Santhi Concordat. "Humans are young. They don't remember the Doctrine Wars." Vorn gestured and the hologram zoomed into a specific page of Amara's notes. She recognized it immediately. Her analysis of Sun Tzu's Art of War, complete with cross-references to Clausewitz's theories and modern strategic thought. "This," Vorn said quietly, "is nearly identical to the Varesh combat philosophy that brought the galaxy to its knees 4,000 years ago. The Varesh Empire conquered 70% of known space using these exact principles before we managed to stop them. Trillions died. Entire species were erased." Amara felt her stomach drop. "But that's just basic military strategy. Every civilization must have developed—" "No." The word came from a Mercosian elder, her voice breaking. "Most species don't think this way. We fight when necessary, yes, but not like this. Not with deception as doctrine. Not with the idea that all warfare is based on deception, as your ancient text states." Thelmar activated another section of her notes. "Here you describe something called total war. The concept that civilian populations and infrastructure are legitimate military targets. Do you understand how profoundly disturbing this is? Most species have genetic or cultural prohibitions against such thinking. And this," added a Krell subcommander, mandibles clicking in agitation, "this concept of winning without fighting through psychological warfare and misinformation. The Varesh use this to turn allies against each other, to make civilizations destroy themselves from within." Amara's mind raced. She thought about human history, the endless conflicts, the evolution of warfare from clubs to nuclear weapons, the game theory and strategic studies that every military academy taught. Things that seemed obvious to any human military historian. "You're saying," she spoke slowly, "that humans independently developed the same military philosophy as the galaxy's most feared empire?" "Not just similar," Vorn corrected. "Identical in every fundamental aspect. Your species theorized concepts of asymmetric warfare, force multiplication, strategic depth, and operational art before you even left your planet. The Varesh took millennia and conquest of 100 worlds to develop the same understanding." Chancellor Vorn pulled up more pages. "5th-generation warfare, hybrid conflict, information dominance, deterrence theory. Every single framework the Varesh used to nearly destroy galactic civilization is here, in notes from a human scholar studying her own species' history." The room fell silent. Amara could hear her own heartbeat. "What happened to the Varesh?" she asked quietly. "They destroyed themselves," Ambassador Liss replied. In the end, their own doctrine was their undoing. They had become so proficient at deception and manipulation that they turned on each other. Their empire collapsed into civil war. We spent the next 1,000 years purging every copy of their military texts, making their strategic thinking forbidden knowledge. And now, Thelmar said, a human appears with the same knowledge, claiming its basic history. Amara looked at her notes, seeing them with new eyes. The casual brilliance of Sun Tzu, written 2,500 years ago. Machiavelli's cold pragmatism. Von Clausewitz's systematic approach to warfare as an extension of politics. The OODA loop. Maneuver warfare. Every concept that military theorists on Earth considered foundational. "What does this mean?" she asked. "Are humans going to be expelled from the galactic community?" Bourne exchanged glances with the other council members. That was the initial recommendation, but some of us have a different perspective. He gestured to the human section of the gallery, where Amara noticed several other humans in diplomatic attire. She hadn't even known they were there. "Humanity developed this doctrine," Vorn continued, "but you also developed past it. Your world wars nearly destroyed you, yet you stepped back from the brink. You created international laws, rules of warfare, concepts of proportionality and distinction. You built a global civilization that, while imperfect, has largely abandoned total war." Ambassador Liss floated forward. "The Varesh never managed that. They rode their doctrine to glory and extinction. But humans, you carry the same potential for strategic brilliance, yet you've shown you can temper it with wisdom." "So what happens now?" Amara asked. "Now," Chancellor Vorn said, "humanity faces a choice. We can seal this knowledge, classify it as the galactic threat it is, and humanity continues as a junior member of our community. Or..." He paused, the weight of history in that silence. "Or humanity can help us. The Varith remnants still exist in the outer spiral, raiders and warlords who remember fragments of the old doctrine. With human strategic minds, properly applied and ethically bounded, we might finally end that threat." Amara looked at her notes again. This ancient and terrible knowledge that her species had developed in isolation, never knowing they were recreating the galaxy's darkest chapter, but also knowledge that humans had learned to contain, to regulate, to move beyond. "I think," she said carefully, "that humans would prefer to help, but on one condition." "Name it." "We don't just teach you our war doctrine. You teach us how you maintain peace. Because clearly you've figured out something we're still learning." Chancellor Vorn's species couldn't smile, but Amara detected what she thought might be approval in his posture. "Dr. Chen, I believe that's a fair exchange. Welcome to the real galactic community, the one where humanity's greatest danger might also be its greatest gift." As the council adjourned, Amara stayed on the platform, looking at her notes floating in holographic glory above her. Sun Tzu's words glowed in the starlight. "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." Humanity had written the most dangerous playbook in the galaxy. Now they had a chance to write a better ending than the Varith ever had. The question was whether they were wise enough to do so.